How's it going? How's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday evening. We're gonna get starting with some programming today, doing a little bit of game engine work. Specifically, we're gonna be working on sort of like a demo scene. We've got a lot of input systems in the background, a lot of them are working. Today we're sort of going hands off the engine, just working on the demo, seeing how much progress we can make on that. And yeah, we'll get started in just a minute here, sit tight. Alright, we're gonna stop Lemon Jelly a little preemptively, and switch over music here. And hopefully, got my fingers crossed that this won't be too loud. I'll keep an eye on things though. Oh, that's gonna be way too loud. Okay, so I think we're ready here. How's it going, everyone? I have a little bit of a different mic setup. I now have this up here. Oh, is that actually going through? That probably went right through. That was probably loud as hell. No, not too bad. I bought a, what is this? A scissor mount, I think? A mount for the mic, so it picks up less of the little bass sounds against the desk. You can still hear the little, like, knocks against the desk, but it's not deafening like it was. Yeah, it hopefully will sound, or help out with the mic quality a little bit. Keep my fingers crossed. And a little windshield, which I didn't have before. Anyways, we're doing a little bit of programming today, and you know what I forgot to do was get my window capture ready for my chat and all that. So give me half a sec here while you just stare off into the blue abyss. You know what? I haven't changed this image in a long time. I've kept the same image of the galaxy. We should switch it over to something. I don't know if I could use, like, something from Star Trek, which I've been binging a lot of lately. But I'd love to. Let me get a couple of my windows up. I'm actually going to start fresh and just have, like, 2 windows up. So, to capture those, we have our main Visual Studio window. There we go, magic. Tech Support Sparky. And our sub window, which should be... if I can find the name of it. I think I have to have it open first. Here we go. I also realized that the mic is going to pick up every small sound I make. Like, I should maybe push it a little bit away. And also it's kind of in the camera, but oh well. Anyway, we're gonna be working on specifically tank today. Just a tank, bits and pieces of the tank, and trying to make some sort of demo off of that. I currently have almost no work put into that. I wanted to just stream the creation of that, so that's what we'll work on today. Let me finish getting my windows ready, so now you can actually look at something. I use a nice like little capture window thing that helps me see what my stream looks like without actually having to have it open, which is heaven. And then some. Alright, are we all set? Does everything look okay? Yeah. Alright, so let me turn down the music just a tad more. Sims 2 soundtrack. We started with Lemon Jelly. If you're curious what that song was, it's an excellent bit of music. That's not too deafening. Okay, anyway. Lemon Jelly by... Who actually makes that song? Lemon Jelly. Because I remember I looked at the band before. Oh, it's the name of the band. I'm sorry. We played... No, Spacewalk, Lemon Jelly, Sims. Sim Time is what we played by Lemon Jelly. Lemon Jelly's band, my bad. Great band though, recommend checking them out. Okay, so starting off, I'm gonna switch these windows actually over. Maybe not. Oh, I didn't like that I did that. Okay, let's grab it again. There we go. Tank. OBS doesn't like when you don't have an active window and you switch it over somewhere else. It just refuses to work properly. No. Have it open, go to OBS, switch over, and there it is. Okay. I was gonna have this on main window, but we'll just leave it there. I recently created this file, which I also have to make sure this is in the right directory, which I don't think it is right now. It is. It's in... Is this tank.h? It is not. Oh, it's in user files. Or it's in my engine. It should be user files. Okay, let me go switch that over. Again, nothing you guys can see because I don't share my actual monitor, which I've been against doing. I couldn't imagine sharing the whole monitor at all times, leaking some info here and there. Okay, file's been swapped, and then in Visual Studio I need to switch over that actual directory. Remove it. Again, it disappears. Have to add it back. I need just like a temporary window I have over here. Maddie learns. What's going on, Maddie? And tank.h from user files. There it is. And now we gotta capture the window one more time, just one more time. And then we'll be ready. Or we can keep it over here temporarily. Let me just get something on the side. Painfully slowly drawing artwork. I can understand that pain. I'm not much of an artist myself, so on the very rare occasion I actually do have to draw artwork of any form, it is a grueling process to say the least. But hopefully it's coming along well. What you drawing right now? Okay, frigate.h. Magic. Okay, cool. Now it's finally up. And I'm using frigate.h because I'm using that as a reference. A tree is the worst thing to draw. Yeah, you know what? I can understand that too. I think anytime I try drawing a tree, it's usually like a pine tree because that just has the very specific, like, you start off at the top with very little amount of needles and you go a little bit larger towards the bottom, make a Christmas tree. That's the only kind of tree I can make. And 2D, of course. No depth whatsoever. I'm going to be mostly copying off what we're doing for the frigate. Currently the demo is working, so we have... Once it compiles, we have our frigate on screen, which should be taking a sec. There we go. We have our frigate on screen. It moves around. We still have a bounding sphere. You'll see a little bullet go off. It's just a little unit sphere that's stretched out like an oval, like a big olive. We have switching scenes, so there's just another scene just with 6 frigates instead. Fancy, very much so. With the 6 frigates, then we can switch back. We have no memory leaks, so we can shoot a bunch of bullets, switch over here, shoot a bunch of bullets, and the game, no memory leaks, which is perfect. So we're going to be essentially going off that idea, but going with a tank instead. So we have the frigate, flying model, fine. We're going to go with a tank model. For now, no animation, just a basic tank model, plop it on the middle of the plane, and go from there. So let's start off with our big 4. Copy this tank over. I'm probably going to have a constructor that I'm going to define. I don't want any copy construction. I don't want any assignment construction. Whoops. And I'm testing the water just to see how loud my clicky-clacky keyboard sounds, which it still is probably extremely loud. I don't know why I made the decision to use a mechanical keyboard for streaming, especially such a loud one. It was sort of like a on the whim buy, because my Solar keyboard had died, which it was a great Solar keyboard. It was an old Lenovo, super quiet keys, had it for, I'm sorry, did I say Lenovo? No, it was a, oh, sold that. I have their mouse somewhere. I can't remember, oddly enough. Logitech. It's an old Logitech Solar keyboard, so you know, it's a decent one. Lasted for like 3 years, it was excellent, off one battery. I'm sure I can replace the battery on the old one, but I haven't bothered. This is gonna be public. Okay. We need to overload some operations. With the tank, I'm sure we're gonna have some alarms, so let's just grab like 2 or 3 alarms. There's 3. We're gonna need a update and draw method. So we're gonna override those from the calling game object. Virtual void draw. Override. We're gonna do key press and key release for sure, so we're gonna grab those. I realized I could just copy it over from the other window, but typing it out for some reason puts it in my head better. Void key released. Azul is our background framework. Released? Am I spelling that right? Yes. Which handles keyboard and Windows events. Which handles Windows events. We handle keyboard events. Key released. I'm learning how to spell. There we go. And then we're going to have a vector for our tank POS. Position vector for our matrix for our tank rotation. And a matrix for our tank scale, which I imagine will have no scaling, but just in case. We're going to include matrix.h to get those defined. We probably could do forward declaration with that. We ignore it for now, though. Not if we have it as a local variable, or as a variable encapsulated within the object, or the class. Camera shift offset, we're going to ignore that for now. I'm just going to have a fixed camera. Later on, we're going to have a moving camera of some sort. Or a chase cam, I should say, so it falls right behind the tank. But for now, I'm going to ignore that. And then let's get our private variables. So we have 2 textures. I am going to steal these textures over, because I just like the naming convention. I'm going to ignore the wireframe for now. So we're just going to have the object itself as loaded in via model. And for that, I am going to have forward declaration, class, graphics object. Today is not my spelling day. Texture lights. P object T. Okay. Nope. Totally did that wrong. Just that. There's the forward declaration. Okay. And then we have a world matrix. We only probably need 1. And an angle which we utilize for turning. Like a rudder. Okay. Let's now define our tank.cpp file for the implementation. Tank.cpp. I'm going to make sure it's in the actual right folder this time, which it should be in our user files. Okay. Include tank.h. Include. We're going to need keyboard.h. Keyboard.h. We're going to need inputable.h. Drawable.h. The ordering's gonna bug me. Include inputable, drawable, or other classes. Game objects, not within user files. Inputable, drawable, updatable. That's the one I forgot. As much as I can, I'm gonna try to avoid touching the engine. In fact, if we just include the engine, let's actually do that. So include tank.h and then include... Oh, I can't do that yet though. Slide.h is invalid. That should probably be fine then. I'm gonna take a look at frigate.cpp also for a starting place. So let's grab that over. Probably one of my larger files. Has the most includes at the very least. And let's get our default constructor. Tank. And for that, we're gonna copy over this, say, vector, light, color, and position. Before I do that, I need to load in the value, or load in the model. So that's gonna be in our game initialize? No, our game load all resources. I'm gonna pass that to the model manager. Load in tank is gonna be our nickname for it. And the file name is gonna be, let's go grab that. I put a couple files in here. Asset model, tank.azul. We'll try that. We'll also have to see how that looks overall. Textures, I currently don't have a TGA. I should go get that. Well, let's hold off. Let me figure out which model I actually want to utilize, because we have a Tank 1, Tank 2, which I don't know what the difference is, and T99 files. So we'll figure out which one we're going to use a little bit later. And shaders. Okay. So now we can load that in. Vector, light, color. Essentially, I'm just going to actually steal these guys. But instead of the model manager, shader manager, oh, should we? Okay, let's load all that in. I thought I could do like a basic just gray object, but I forget if I can actually pass that in for graphics texture light. Let's also include that file since we did for declaration. So graphics object texture light. Include the model manager. Include the shader manager. Kind of clunky to include all these. I wish I could actually just grab all the managers in one go. We might do that for the engine. And include texture shader and... oh, texture, sorry. Texture manager.h. This is why I don't do CPP. CPP has its problems. I personally love it, alongside with a bunch of other reasons, especially the memory management. You gotta do a lot of memory management. I've grown to personally love it, but I can understand the deterrent for it. Okay, so instead of Space Frigate, we're gonna grab our nickname tank. And then we need to grab our shader and textures. So we need to load those resources in. Texture manager, load. Again, we're just gonna nickname it tank. And then I need to go grab a couple asset files for that. We have a reference folder directory that we can grab this from, so I'm just gonna steal from there temporarily. We might switch it over later, but for now, it's in our optional assets. Ooh, that hairstyle. I don't actually have a gel today. I was supposed to gel it, but it's just kind of floppy now. What's going on, Charlotte? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Body, metal rust. I'm gonna grab our TGA file for the body. I also want to grab... I don't have a shader for it. Do I? I don't. I don't have texture anyways. I could use... I'm gonna use one of the default shaders that we have set up already. So that means we only need the body. Which should hopefully fit on there okay. We'll see. I'm gonna drag that into my resources. Should hopefully. I gave up on my C-class last year. Oh, that's sad to hear. Why'd you give up on it? How much progress did you make? C's tricky. C's even more low level than C++, of course. I did C for our systems class, so we learned OS stuff, how the OS operates, and some of that lower level information, and we use C for most of our testing. I'm putting this in my texture file. There we go. This is body.tga. Okay. And for the texture manager, we're gonna get And I'm going to keep the shader manager, so texture light render. That works for me. I didn't realize how much of a headache everything was going to be. It's a lot of work. And essentially, like, if you're going to be working in C, you're probably going to be doing everything from scratch. Every single thing. You're not getting a whole lot of libraries, I imagine. If they're teaching it right. And if they give you everything and they're like, okay, here's a little small subset. Usually, like, how Java's taught is for, like, our data structures class and stuff like that. They're like, okay, here's all the background dependencies. Here's all the stuff that makes a lot of it easy. And then here's a to-do section. Do the to-do and learn how to, like, make a linked list structure, or learn how to make a tree or something like that, which is great in itself, but you don't really learn, like, say, Java a whole lot. You learn how to work with the syntax, and you learn how to do those data structures in Java, but you don't really learn the language and how to get around it, in my personal opinion. But in C, you're working it from scratch, usually, if they're teaching it right. I don't think I'll ever understand binary trees fully. I don't think I even understand it. I imagine when I'm actually going for job interviews and stuff like that, I'm gonna have to grind out a lot of LeetCode code to actually get those systems back in my memory, but it's been a long time. I'd say if you could do linked lists, that's all you need. Just do linked lists and you're good. Binary tree is easy though. If I'm looking at a reference, maybe. I definitely can't just code it from head. What are you drinking tonight? I am drinking a berry ale. Mary Berry Ale, which will not show up on the... Yeah, it might show up a little bit. Mary Berry. By Schlafly. No clue what that is. I don't know when I bought this either. I couldn't find a Best Buy date, so I don't know if this is still good. It tastes fine. It tastes like when I originally bought it. Is that a Best Buy date? No. I was looking for one. It's like a month or two old. It's not too bad. Hash sets and hash maps is probably what I use a shit ton of though. Order constant, no kidding. We use a lot of hash maps for this so far. For all the model management, for all the, or all the asset management, I should say, so textures, shaders, and models. We're using it for, say, our input system, where we have a keyboard manager that has a bunch of single key managers, and to facilitate all that usage, we're using hash maps like crazy. I'm sure we use it in a couple other places too. Hash maps are great though, as long as you can deal with having no collisions. Or what's that called? When you get the same key. Forget the name of it. As long as you have no collisions. Okay, so that's done. Got the load in. We need to set the scale. I'm just gonna do the identity or scale of 1.0. F, 1.0F, 1.0F, but it's not a ship scale, it's a tank scale, camel case. See, that was the problem. I was having too much trouble already with some basic elements. I just can't keep up with anything else after that. And it's the basics that's the framework that dictates everything else after the fact. Like, basics are so pinnacle to having an understanding of anything within the language, because they all have their old weird caveats here and there, but it's about the basics, getting those down, and then learning the weird things about each other language. The weird thing that makes them. Tick rotation, set to identity, tank POS, set to, I'm gonna set it at the same as the frigate so we can get an idea of where it is and what it looks like on the plot. I didn't call it tank POS, what I called it? I did call it tank POS. Why do you not like that? Call an object of class type with an appropriate operator or conversion. What did I do wrong? Dot set. Whoops. Matrix world, local variable, is equal to tank scale times tank rots times a translation matrix of the tank position, and that gives us our TRS form. And then via the graphics object, we can set the world matrix. What did I spell wrong here? Set world to that local variable that we just used. We need to submit registration for updatable. Updatable. What did I do wrong here? Singleton. Submit update registration. Drawable, submit update registration. We have our alarms, we're not going to utilize them right now. We do need just functions for them, just empty functions for now. I'm going to put them in the CDP file though, because we're probably going to utilize them later. We're going to submit key registration for WASD. So inputable. Submit key registration for... Here's a tricky question. Currently we don't have constant input. So we don't have hold down W, tank continuously moves in one direction. We could do a state to where... Oh, that has an if check now. Could do a state where hit W, for example, moving forward in that direction. You have to have 4 states for each direction though. And then when you depress that key or when you release that key, it swaps the state over and no longer continues to move the object. Is that the best approach though? I don't think it is. We could sort of hardcode how we move. We have that somewhere around here. Similar to this, where we actually just manually check the key state and say, hey, what is that state? Is it this? Good, move that way. Ideally, I'd like to use the input system because that's going to be a little bit cleaner in the long run. Even if currently it doesn't look very clean where we have, like, say, the 4 states. I'm going to go that route. So, maybe we can have enumeration. Private one, of course. Enum... movement states. States. And we could do forward, left, right, backward. Okay. The downside of this is I think we have to do with not a switch statement. We'll have to check each one of those states though. I mean, it's similar to this, already checking for the key state. Let's do that, okay. So anyways, we need to check for Zool key W. This is gonna be, how do we define the key press? Just key press. Key press. WASD. A S and D. Okay. And then we're gonna do the same thing for these guys. But it's gonna be for key release. Okay. We'll set up those functions in a sec. Is there anything else we need? No, I guess that's it for the initial bit. Okay. Tank. Let's do with the alarms first. Right now we have, I think, 3 alarms. Let's just knock that down to 1 to make it easier on our lives. Void, tank, alarm 0, no implementation. Void tank, update, nothing. Void tank, draw. Void tank. We're gonna do the key press and key release here. Key pressed, Azul key, okay. Key released, Azul key, okay. I think that's good. ARG structure. Tank, not tank. And do we call any news? We do. Delete p object. Okay, cool. For now, I'm not going to worry about the key presses. Hey, what's going on, Nappa? What's wrong? This is not the Matrix? It is not the Matrix. It's programming the Matrix. No. We're going to work on our update, so we need to send that information over. So p object ft render, and we need to send over the scene manager, which I don't think we have yet. In the scene attorney, we have a attorney client idiom, because specifically in C++, there's not a really easy way to dictate specific, say, engine functions as opposed to, well, private engine functions to other engine functions sort of encapsulated in themselves and not give any of that usage to user files. If you make a friend class, then sort of breaks encapsulation. It's a bad idea. We can use an attorney client idiom, ACI, in order to sort of make it work by saying specifically dictating functions to, say, the engine and updatable. I only want updatable to access this one very specific function from my engine, sort of make them have that relationship. Is this part of your schoolwork? It is. It is part of my schoolwork. So I'm going to do the scene manager attorney because I don't remember. Well, let's actually go take a peek. I forget what my manager looks like. So scene manager, and it's attorney. The attorney only supports change scene right now. Later on, I'm probably going to want to do it so it can also do get current scene. Is that necessary though? That's not necessary. Because the user should be able to call get current scene. So I'm not going to limit that yet. I don't see a reason to. So instead, we're not going to include the scene manager attorney. We're just going to include the scene manager.h. If you want, you can cheat off me. No thanks. I appreciate the offer though. Scene manager, get current scene, and then we need to include scene.h. Scene.h. Fine with the autocorrect. So that we can actually call get camera. There we go. And that's it for the update. For the draw, that's not even an update. That is the draw. And I think that's it. Let's try running that. We do have a couple errors. For reference formal parameter, so that's technically an error. Reference parameter k, lowercase k, because it wants us to actually do something with that code, but we're not going to. We're specifically going to say we don't want to do anything with it. And I think that's it. I think I already have it set up, so currently in order to switch between two scenes, for example these two, we are telling our plane to keep an eye for input, not the frigate. The frigate has an eye for switching to this scene, a little confusing. But home was the one I thought I programmed for this one. Let me see. Before that, we need to create a new scene. I haven't actually created a new scene yet. Before that then, let's just put this in our scene demo before even bothering creating a whole nother scene. So let's go to scene demo. Temporarily, we're gonna get rid of the frigate. So class tank for forward declaration. Tank pointer, p glob tank, global variables. Not really, but quote unquote. A tired naming convention I got in. We're gonna get rid of the frigate for a sec. And we're gonna call p glob tank is equal to new tank, but of course before we do that we need to define tank. Include tank.h. And just to make sure we clean up our memory, we're going to delete p glob tank. Okay. So there's our tank. Little large, little huge. We'll have to knock that down a little bit. We did get an error because p glob frig is no longer existent. So let's scale that guy down a little bit, just a tiny bit. Right now it's at full scale. Can we do maybe 0.5? I don't know the actual scale of this object. Let's try that. Still gigantic. Still huge. Too big? No, comrade. Tank is too small. Good points! What's going on, Nixer? How you doing? That is still gigantic. 0.001. Or 0.01. We actually do use the tank scale, right? We set up the roll matrix for that, but do we use it for anything else? Oh, there it is. It's on its side. That's a little weird. Just got memed on in VR chat. How'd you get memed on? What happened to you? VR chat. It's been a while since I played on that. I had some good times messing around with people on that. It's tiny and now it's sideways, but at least it's there. That's what we're happy about. Can we do 0.01? That will probably be maybe a decent size. Invasion of Ugandan Knuckles, a meme that should just die. Yeah, I can't believe that hasn't died yet. Like, I can't believe a news report hasn't covered it and it just kills the meme. Well, I'm sure it has been a little bit, but it's a little past. Still a little too big. Let's just stick with 0.01. At least for now, it will be in camera view. It's not the proper size, but it's fine. Okay. Why are they so stubborn to keep it going? I mean, probably it's because VR chat, it was so popular within VR chat, I'm sure people will still do it because VR chat's still around. I imagine if VR chat died, so would the meme. Okay. Rotation. Here's a question. How do we set the rotation properly? We're gonna do a matrix of the identity. 0, 0, 0. Is that proper? No. Matrix. We set the rod here. Technically, identity is a matrix, so that probably won't work too well. VR chat is eternal. There's that new VR chat. I was gonna say VR chat in VR, but that doesn't even make sense. There's that newer one that people are using a lot. I don't know the name of it, but I was watching someone play it today. Everyone's waifu or leifu lives there. I guess so. Okay, what is set? Set takes a special matrix type. Okay, so I can do, okay. I can do identity and say a vector. Still doesn't like that, oddly enough. What if I do, no instance of overloaded function matches the argument list. Matrix special type and vector. Doesn't? The fact that I haven't heard of this new computer means it's bad. Oh, new competitor means it's bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It looks pretty bad. But it's something else that's there. What if it just times this by, say, matrix 0, 0, 0? Doesn't like that? VR chat is literally the best thing on the market. Of its type, yes. No definition matches that. Okay, what if we do... Oh, I'm having a brain dead moment on how to actually send over a matrix. Matrix rot value dot set 0, 0, 0. Doesn't like that? I guess it has to be 3 vectors. I also joined a bar and found a group of people huddled around 2 others. Turns out those 2 were... Oh, don't say that. Oh, I'm gonna have to time you out because you said that. I'm sorry, Ixer. It's only for 1 second. Only to hide the chat. Not had to... Oh, because I spelled your name right. Okay, because I spelled your name wrong. You get one warning on that. Don't say that in chat. I need my raw value, so I need 3 vectors to send over. GG misspelling my name, right? I am struggling. What are the other special types of matrices? 0 in identity. Oh, okay. And I'm rot type. Orient. I could orient the matrix. Scale, rows. Ixir use simile terms for it to bypass. It's gotta go to an actual bar, but was dropping off to say hi, have fun, don't go insane. Thank you, I appreciate it. Have fun at the bar. Hopefully it's a good night. And Napa, don't encourage that. Set identity. When we originally set up these values, for example over here, I set over 3 floats. Oh, that would work, right? 0.5f, 0.5f, 0.5f. Ah, okay. It likes floats, but not in this way. Scale it by that. Scale. But we don't want to scale, we want to rotate. Rod type? I mean, there'll be booze. How can it not be a good night? I don't know. Spending a lot of money, maybe. Not set. We can set over floats. We can do translation type, constant rot, orient type, constant vector. So I can do rotate it by an up vector and a DOF. Don't know what DOF stands for. Rotation by an axis. So get the vector axis and a degree in radians. That might be our best bet. Rot 3 axis type. Ah, my nose itches. Because the model's on its side by now. We definitely need to rotate it by something. Let's rotate it by an axis. So again, we need to somehow set up the rotation. Constant rotation orient type. Constant vector DOF. It's not like that. Type name's not allowed. Okay. We have a couple demos that I'm going to quickly peruse through to see if we ever... I don't think we ever rotate. I'm going to check real quick. I want to see if we use a rotation matrix in any way and how to utilize that. Because I'm not entirely sure. I have to build that real quick. That won't go up on screen, unfortunately. But it gives me a quick chance to peek over the code for it. Okay, got it. So this is the kind of format. I wasn't sure for the matrix how to actually set this up. It looks kind of odd. But say tankrot dot set. You specify the angle, so rotation Y, for example, and then you specify could we just do a float? It doesn't like that. Okay. Okay, let's give that a go. We're gonna try across the... We probably want to rotate across either the X or the Z axis. I'm not sure which one. I think that's right. Let's go full, this is in radians, so pi, 3.14. Is that right? Ooh. It's tricky because I can't actually see the tank move. So I don't actually know if we're looking at it the right way. I should set up a god cam so I can actually float around there. Oh, it's just a float of angle. Okay, so maybe... It seems to have a huge effect, so like 90 degrees, 90.0. That doesn't make sense. This is in radians. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to like just guess and check here. Normally it's on its side. So if I take this out, tankrot.set identity. Normally it's on its side. I want to rotate about, I don't know which is X and Z. The weird thing is it's not really, is that right? Let me set this right on the origin point. It's rotated a very odd way. And I guess let's raise it a little bit. Raise it by 1, 2, 2. Rotate it 90 degrees. Well, there's the trick thing, because if you rotate it 90 degrees, it still ain't quite right because it's on the Z and the Y axis. Also, it's in the air before, I didn't realize that. We can still set it as the identity and then rotate it, I believe. I hope. It should be the same. Yep, it is. Good. So now if we rotate now by 1, let's see how much of a difference that makes. -1. So the problem is this isn't at it's not on the origin. Where's the point of origin? Where is it rigged? It's in this in the middle. The rig, oh, I see what you mean. For the actual model. So that's the problem. Is the model it's not on origin. So what I have to do in this case would be like say open it up in Blender and actually set the V up properly. This was a given asset with all facets in that idea. Buyer beware in a way. I can make do just to get the demo working, at the very least, with the intention of later on making this at the origin, I think. Oh, I did by the Y-axis, I don't want that, by the Z-axis. It's nearly there, 1.5, no, that's too much, 1.3, 1.3. That's what I have to guess and check, to just get a feel for it. Ooh. .9 on the X. Because once this is centered at the origin, all we have to do is comment out this existing rotation code. Because then it won't matter. I feel like Rot X is not doing anything. It is not, okay. 2.5F. It's gonna be way too much. So this is the correct direction in the sense of getting it up in one space, but we also need to tilt it backwards. And how to do that is the question now. Could specify all 3 points, right? Tank rot.set rot x. Oh no, I don't think it will let us do that. XYZ. So 0.0f, 0.0f, negative 1.5f. This should look similar to where we had it before. Out of curiosity, is there a way to make the text bigger? There is? Is that not big enough? I guess I can zoom in. Problem is it kind of goes off the edge now. Had an error of compilation for what? Tank void. Oh, it doesn't know what that call is. Never mind, I didn't have the stream full screen, you're good. I didn't like this call, oddly enough. Right, XYZ. Okay. So I guess that isn't defined, oddly enough. If we wanted to manually define this, what could we do? Fatal error, just a linkage. Oh yeah, okay, so there's not... well... What type is this again? Rot 3 axis type. Rot 3 axis type is here. About 3 floats. It's not defined though. This is given. Excuse me, voice is dying. Matrix pack is given to us, so we're actually not allowed to touch that. So I'm annoyed because that's our resolution there. Our other resolution is just to open this guy up and do it ourselves, which I'm hesitant to do. Open it up in like Blender and just get it on its axis. Or we just leave it. Could just leave it. For now. And then later on, I'll deal with setting that on its proper axis. That is actually probably going to be what I'm going to do. Because that's going to be easier in the long run. I don't know why my voice is dying all of a sudden. Okay. So we're going to leave it. We're going to deal with the key presses now. So we're going to switch on the key K. Have 4 cases. Case, Zool key, key W, break. W, A, S, and D. Gonna switch on K. All this game coding is making my brain hurt. It's making my brain hurt too. I don't understand any of this. Yeah, it can be confusing. My annoyance is with the actual model we were provided and how it's not centered on the origin, so I need to center that myself. I should test that beforehand to see if it's actually centered, but I didn't have a way of actually opening this file because it's given in a format I can't actually edit at the moment. Oh, it's given in a format I can't actually edit at the moment. I didn't even think about that. So I actually can't. I actually can't edit that file. Okay, so then what do we do now? We could do this. Set as identity, good. Times equals? It's not gonna do that, is it? Matrix of rot Z negative 1.5 F. That's not gonna let us do that because we have to take this line and say tank rot times equals that. There we go. So I'll get it back to the position we wanted. And then now we need to do another times equals, I think on the x-axis. Tank rot times equals matrix rot x, I think. And then this would be negative 1.0f, I think. I'm all turned around in my hiddenness space. Yay, that's what we want. Okay. It's in the floor, but we can just slightly adjust it. 0.5. Almost there. I'm gonna set it to be, well, 0.4. I'm hoping we don't have to keep this finicky rotation, but we might. Oh, it's going up. Whoops. 0.6. That looks about right. Okay. Now I'm curious. In our load all resources, we load in tank. I think we have a tank 2. I'm curious what that model looks like. Now that we have this all rotated properly. You know what tank 2 probably is? It's probably the properly rotated model. I guarantee it. I guarantee that's the properly rotated model. I didn't even think about that. It probably is. Let's see. It is referenced as tank 2.azul. Tank 2.azul. Rotation's off. Get the wrong model. Both are provided. I imagine I went with the first one, but now I imagine it's probably, let me take all of this out. So tank scale dot set identity. The first one was provided as a, this was what we were given, and then the tank 2 was the, this is the adjusted one that actually looks nice. Tank rot dot set identity. Tanks POS. Tank position dot set. Did we set this before? Oh, we already got it. Let's see if that looks proper. That's a different tank. But that works. At least it's only off on one axis instead of two. That's gonna be a lot easier to deal with. There's two others. I'm gonna take a peek at just what those are. As given resources. One is T99 body. I don't think this TGA file matches it though. We can try it. Oh, because I loaded the wrong model. Whoops. Oh, body. Okay. These are separate entities. That's nice. So then T99 turret then. Ah. That actually might be exactly what we want. Yes. This is exactly what we want, because center at the origin, excellent. Independent turret from tank means rotatable turret, independent of the actual model. Perfect. So for now, let's ignore the turret. Put that on later. Just put on the body. T99 body. So, God, what was all that rigmarole that we just did? It doesn't have any light on it. I don't know why that is. We'll have to figure that out. But hey, it's a great start. My God. So instead of tank, I'm going to call this tank body to match everywhere. Do we have a separate TGA file? There's a body.tga. That's good. I'm gonna take that. Oh no, there's a track.tga. Do you want track or body? I'm gonna try body. It's nighttime, that's why you can't see the tank. Exactly, it's too dark out. Oh, we're already using body though, aren't we? Let's try track, because I don't have track yet. Optional assets, track. Also, I haven't added any of this into the project. I should probably do that into my version control. That's your tank files, adding in tank model. Awful comment, but it works. Okay, got track. We're gonna see if track works properly, so... track.gga. Didn't like that. What's the reason for that? Insertion error expression model. Ah, because I changed the model name. Right. So in tank.cpp, it's now called tank. Let's call this tank track. That's gonna be better. So in load all resources, tank track. Tank body. Tank body is more memory inducive. When I see tank body, I actually know what it's talking about. Tank track, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, doesn't look much better. In fact, that might even look a little bit worse. We do see the tracks, but we don't see the rest of the body. I'm not even sure the tracks look right. This is body again. Body certainly doesn't look right, so one of these are going to be the proper one. I have a body TGA, a metal rust TGA. What does that look like? I think that's just a regular old rusty file, yeah. And a track.tga, that's all, unfortunately. Hey, Noella, Sparky, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Good to see ya. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna steal Tank Tex. Let's try stealing those. I have so many files to get through. There we go. So tank tex and tank tex 2. Tank underscore tex. Slightly hungry, but I'm okay. I'm actually really hungry too. I haven't eaten since this morning. I gotta make some noodles. Tank tex doesn't look much better. I have a feeling that these need to be combined. Tank tex 2. Been playing Minecraft and avoiding my homework. Go eat? No, not yet. I've been doing homework too. But only I've been streaming it. What type of homework? I hope I don't have to manually... No, I wouldn't have to do that. So... a formal analysis of Picasso painting that makes me want to scream like every single creature in it. 500 words. That's only 500 words though! Think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It took you 18 words just to tell us about how you want to scream doing the Picasso painting. And if you take 18 divided by 500, you've already done 0.036% of the essay. Just talking about it like that. Isn't that neat? 500 words is nothing, you can do this in no time. But it's like hard, okay, I do understand that. Especially if you're writing about a subject, I'm not saying that you necessarily don't know a whole lot about it, but it's maybe a subject that is kind of, oh, sorry, it's kind of eh. Sparky, don't give me facts, I'm sorry. That's like a paragraph at least, but I can understand like writing a paragraph either about something you don't like or about something you don't know a whole lot about. Either of those, I just can't do personally. I hate doing stuff like that. If it's something I love talking about, I could write pages about that, but I'm in no way an English major, I'm a math major. It's like I gotta describe what elements of art it hits and no. Just no, I just don't want to do that. Picasso fucks up the elements. Yeah, exactly, he's about going against the grain, doing his own thing. I know nothing about Picasso. Other than that, he kind of is about fucking up the elements, isn't he? Like what colors it paints? I think you mean like what style of art and how it went against what like art was popular those days. It's entirely grayscale. Which one are you doing? Or which one are you looking at? The only Picasso painting I'm thinking of right now is the time one, the clock. Picasso melting clock. Persistence of memory, whatever that's called. One Seki? Oh, I haven't heard of that piece. I hope that's not actually the name of it. I have to Google it now. Okay, it's not called One Seki. Alright, I had to double check. I had to be sure. So when we load in the resource, let's go take a peek at this. We have other graphic object stuff we could utilize in our library. Let's go take a peek at some of that stuff. Wireframes, bright boxes, texture flash, color. Not really a whole lot that we can take from there. My problem here is that we have a texture for one solid object, which is the tank and turret combined. However, we're trying to split that up into two objects, just being the tank and just being the turret. So how do we go about that? What I think we should do is we have to mess with, like, say, the UV coordinates and affect the .tga file, the texture, and just say kind of what portion of that file we want. But I don't want to go too out into depth with that. I don't want to have to manually set those vertices in anyway. I imagine maybe that will be the long run option, but I think I'd do that off stream and just pull my hair out trying to do it. It's... I'm not even gonna try pronouncing that. Guernica? Oh yeah, it is all grayscale. I don't think I could easily pull that up on stream, otherwise I would. Just steal from the Wikipedia page. Sorry, what? The one the teacher told us to look at is in grayscale. Gotcha. There's a lot of info on it. Bombing of 1937. The aftermath after the bombing. I guess it is a history piece. But then again, you're not supposed to talk about that stuff. You're not supposed to talk about the history of it. You're supposed to talk about, like, the artwork of it. There's a bit on the creation. Not like I'm suggesting you go to Wikipedia. I'm suggesting to look at the links that are linked in Wikipedia and use those links. It's a good place to find sources and decide whether or not you actually want to use those sources. To be a, conscientious information gatherer. Something like that. Which is how I do most of my papers. If I can find a wiki on it, I'll at least check what the link is for it, because they're usually quality links. I mean, that's what the people try to do, and you can make the judgment call on whether that link is trash or not. It hurts my brain when I try to read the assignment, because I need new glasses. I need glasses too. I didn't think I needed glasses the longest time, but now I can't read far away things, and it just sucks. I had 20/20 for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, boom, vision's just gone. Can't see a damn thing. The only glasses I have are like a bit of, I wear them to cut out the blue light, because I stare at my screen for probably 18 hours a day. Like, do it at work, get home, do schoolwork, in the morning wake up and stare at a screen. All day I stare at a screen, so hopefully to help my eyes from not degrading as fast. Let alone it hurts when I look at the painting. Yeah, exactly. It's just pain altogether. It's a painful experience. I can understand your pain in that. Are we gonna be cheap for a sec? I think we're just gonna be cheap and we're just gonna steal this update. Just to get the thing to move. I hope you have a good night, Spark. You take it off. I hope you have a good night too. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you. Get food? I do need to get food. I wish I could go to Chipotle. They close at 10. It's 11 now. Ah, oh, Chipotle. I would love to then. Ah, oh, CVS is closed too. I can get like a burrito. I have ramen noodles. I'll survive. Seems like there was a battle going on in that picture because I saw a broken dagger and people on the ground. Yep, there was a battle. It is about a battle. Go check the wiki for more info. So... what are we doing now? We're dealing with the tank body. We got a tank body. We don't even have to worry about rotation in any way. All that rotation is fine. The problem is the texture of some sort. We're gonna stick with... what was it called? Let's go back to my asset folder. I think tread? Texture... track.tga. Track.tga, because it's the closest thing we kind of have to the tank. At least it matches the tank treads. That works. Rest of the body, we'll figure that out. Okay, we're gonna do... let's do it right the first time. Let's not be too gimmicky about it. So... what I'd like to do... I really don't like the state idea. I really don't like the state idea. Because the way that I'm currently gonna have set up, so we have our keyboard input registry. That registry monitors a single key and detects if there's a key press, key release, and if there is, it does a certain action. In this case, well... okay, never mind. Yeah, it does a certain action. The reason why we can't just do continuous keyboard input is because we haven't set that up. We only do single key press, single key release, and that's all. Thus, we must switch a state over. We must say, okay, tank is moving forward, and have a boolean say, okay, tank is now forward. When we throw multiple directions into that, the tank can also be forward, but it can also be going forward left, forward right, forward back, for all we know. Thus we get into an issue of maybe we have 4 booleans and setting those 4 booleans and then running through all 4 checks to see, hey, is this one true? Is that one true? Is that one true? If so, do these things. I'm hesitant to do it like that. I'm iffy to do it like that. And for that reason, I'll leave this setup. I mean, that isn't necessarily bad. Maybe at some point once I get constant input, that'll be a lot better. But for now, let's do the cheap update check. So, I need to include keyboard.h. I already got that. And essentially, we're doing all of this. The only thing we're changing is instead of ship position, we're doing ship rotation, adjusting the roll matrice. We don't have to worry about a bounding sphere. Pretty much all that. But of course, we're doing tank POS and tank rotation. We don't have a translation speed, we do have to set that. We don't have a tank rotation angle, we have to set that. And the reason why this is gimmicky is because every single update loop we have to go again through each one of these, say if this, if that, else if this, else if that. It's a costly operation. I'd like to avoid it. And we would avoid it if we have the input system working properly, but currently we don't. So we need a rotation speed and a translation speed. Let's set those up. Those are gonna be private values. Tank rot speed. That's gonna be a float. For some reason we set that as public here. I don't think it really needs to be public. 0.05 is our rod angle. Should be constant. Constant float. Tank trans speed is equal to 1.0f. Okay. Needs to be float because that's how we're going to pass it in the matrix. We need a rot angle. Let's float. Tank rot angle is equal to... oh, I forget. Rot angle. Oh, we already do that. This is not speed, this is supposed to be tank rot angle. Speed is 1.0f, good. Is that everything? What are we missing? The rotation itself. Tank. Tank and tank. Now we're gonna take out the bounding sphere stuff because we don't need any of that. We don't need to set the wireframe to the world matrix because we don't have a wireframe. Okay, let's just try that for now. That moves around the tank successfully. And the rotation's a little weird. This is me resetting it. Okay, well, hey, it works for our purpose now. It's much more sophisticated? What? I believe it's a man fighting his inner demons in the basement, but lost the addle. I think Noelle took off, by the way. Because we can get a look at the tank turrets now. So those do look proper. That's good at least. No memory leaks. It's also a good sign. Let's go and push this to our code base. Tank currently drawn to screen. Decided on slower, costly translation and rotation. We'll adjust to inputable rotation when ready. Okay. So now, what do we work on now? I think what I'd really like to do is try to get the tank to look as good as we can. We technically also, we do have bullets ready, so we could get bullets set up. I'm hesitant to do that because we don't necessarily have the model set yet. What we would do that for that is have a tank turret class. I guess I could start that. That doesn't hurt. So couple this down, start up a new model. This should have technically been called tank body, but I didn't necessarily know that we were going to separate them at the time. So we're just going to call a new one called tank turret. So tank turret.h should be in our user files. Good. If and def tank turrets. Define tank turrets and endif tank turret. Class tank turrets. Public game object. Include game objects.h. Tank turret. We're going to set up a default constructor, tank turrets. We're going to get rid of the copy constructor of the assignment operator. And we're going to set up a deconstructor. These are all going to be public. The reason why I'm struggling so much to type is I have this big microphone right where my keyboard is. I don't say I normally look at my hands, but every once in a while it helps to glance at it. I don't have the touch typing keys, the F and J. I don't have those on this keyboard. Or they're maybe a little worn off. Alright, private. So I have trouble finding F and J. This is going to be similar to the tank itself. This is going to have independent movement. So we're still going to have maybe an alarm. We definitely need a update and a draw. we're gonna have a key pressed. Control void key released. Disable key. I think what we're gonna want to do is maybe we have like a ticker for the amount of rotation that we've gone so far, setting at 0. It cannot exceed, say, like negative 90 degrees and positive 90 degrees, because the tank shouldn't be able to spin all the way around on its axis. It should only be able to go a little bit. I don't know if we're gonna have it played up either. We'll see. Okay. We're gonna have a vector for turret position, which should match the tank position. And in fact, in order to actually create the tank turret, we're gonna have that it should have its own draw and update, but we're gonna have it associated with the tank itself. Yeah, that'll be the way we go about it. Include matrix.h. Matrix turret rot. Matrix turret scale. Constant float turret. We can still do a translation speed. I'm wondering how closely knit these two should be. You know what? Does this even need to be a separate object? I don't know if it does. Because it might be frustrating to keep these two objects together, and really, they are independent. That requires a tricky think. I would think it would maybe need to be a separate object if one were ever independent of the other. Like, say, we could have a turret body without a head, and we can have a head without a body, but we can't, and they shouldn't necessarily act independently of one another. So in fact, let's actually delete tank turret.h. I don't think we need it, to be honest. Or at least it doesn't need to be a game object. Although to just avoid cluttering up tank itself, it doesn't need to be a game object. We can have this all controlled from the tank. However, it doesn't need all of these methods. We'll have the tank control all of that. We are going to need a bunch of methods like rotate turret and move turret and stuff like that. Which will be fine. That'll be alright. So this is all well and good. For the default constructor then, let's pass over, say, some information. We'll say this one is delete. Pop a special constructor, tank turret. It's gonna want the vector for ship position, the matrix for ship rotation, and the matrix for ship scale. Pass all those in. It will set up the turret appropriately. Does it need its own speed? I don't think it does. It needs its own position. It needs to know that, at the very least. And rotation and scale. It'll set those up properly. I don't know if it needs to know anything else though. It will have a private variable, which will be the graphics object texture light. And I guess we'll see if we need a roll matrix. We'll hold off on that. Okay, let's create a tank turret.cpp. Oh, not class wizard. Tank turret.cpp. class. Include tank turret.h. Include tank.h gunner. Tank turrets. Vect. Matrix. This is going to be the ship pus. Ship rot. And ship scale. Now I'm hesitant on ship scale. We'll try it. Why not? It'd be nice to scale the object. Scale the turret with the actual tank itself. Okay, so let's start initializing. Still gonna do vector, light color, and light position. Did we even use that in tank.h? I'm gonna start pinning stuff so I don't lose it. I guess we did. Technically, I don't really think we need these. It doesn't even need to be a tank light, a graphics object, texture light. It could just be a texture object. But we'll stick with it for now. Okay, take all these. But instead of tank body, we're gonna get some other stuff. So, include model manager. I would assume these tanks are manned with robots that control them. That's a fair assumption. That is a fair assumption. Include texture manager. Include that.h. Okay, let's go to load all resources, and we're gonna send up a tank turret model manager. Is there a YouTube video of the completion version I could look at? Of this? No. No, this is from scratch. Tank turrets. And I need a texture for the turret. I gotta go grab a texture. Reference. Assets. Turret.azul, which I think I already have. Let's see. Assets. Texture. Nope, not texture, I'm sorry. Model. We have a tank turret. Okay, good. We're good. T99 turret.azul. T99, that reminds me of needing to do my taxes. Semicolon. Texture manager. Load. Again, we don't really have texture for this yet. Tank turret. This is where we were struggling before. Assets, texture. I guess I could use the body for now, see if that works. Body.tga. I guess it gives it something graphical at the very least. Okay, so instead of tank body, it's tank turret for the model manager, and then tank turret for the texture as well. Okay. Then we're gonna set the scale on all that, so tank turret dots. Oh no, we don't set all the scale. It should have one still. So turret. Turret.scale. Turret POS dots set ship POS. Turret scale dot set ship scale. didn't like that, but that's okay. Turret rot dot set ship rot. Let's not even set it. It's equal to ship rot. It's equal to ship POS. No point in setting it after all. It's equal to ship scale. Okay. Set up the world matrix. So matrix world is equal to ship turret scale times turret rot times a matrix for translation of turret POS TRS. P object ft set world world. Okay, that puts it in the right place with the right orientation. Right now we're not gonna do any key registration or anything like that. In fact, we don't because it's not a game object. Is that good? I think that might be good. Let's now have tank .h own a pointer, so it's gonna be class tank turret. Tank turret pointer tank gun. Great variable names. Tank.cpp. Tank gun is equal to new tank turrets. And we need to include tank turret, of course. But it needs the parameters. The parameters are going to be tank. What are the three parameters? It's going to be ship POS, ship rot, ship scale. Okay. Oh, tank POS, tank rot, tank scale. I should adjust that terminology. Tank, tank, and tank. This is to avoid confusion when I'm looking at autocomplete. Tank and tank. Okay. So we got that. We still need to render it, so let's go back to... Oh, we also need to set up the deconstructor. I guess for now that's okay being default. We don't really call new... Yeah, we do. Never mind. Tank turrets, deconstructor, delete p object ft. Okay. Temporarily, should we make it any of this public? It is public right now. Later on, make private. But for now, we're not going to worry about it. So we need the tank turret, or what do we call it? Tank gun? Tank gun. Tank gun, POS, plus equals this stuff. Since we're using tank variables for all this, we don't really need to set up any of this. Yeah, it's just a holder for the model. Okay, so this stuff is not relevant. thought it might have been, but it's not. It's relevant once to set up the role matrix. Got it. Only relevant to set up world matrix. Which we could pull that out. Could provide it that info via like initialization, so it sets up that info. Let's maybe set it up like that so it looks a little bit nicer. Do we need to though? I'm hesitant. Let's just leave it like this for now. We'll swap it over later. If it's needed. I'm sure we're gonna make a lot of adjustments to this anyway. Okay. Tank gun. Turret position. Let's equals that. Tank gun. Turret rot. Time equals that. And I made this private temporarily. We're gonna pull that out. Oh, in fact, we don't need any of this. Because we can just use the same world matrix that the tank uses. Ah, so that's where we may have trouble. Because we want to offset the turret's position from the tank. Otherwise, it's going to be right inside of it. I think. Let's try this for now. Or let's see if it even renders. I didn't even think about that. We still need to draw it. Tank gun, P object FT, render. That. Nope, semicolon. Okay, now it should be drawn. Okay, it is too low down there, so let's get that higher. That's gonna be part of the initialization. I guess part of the position. Minus matrix, matrix, trans, 2.0f, negative 4.0f, 0.0f. It's not gonna like that. Oh, it's a vector. Whoops. Do minus 10. See if it's a noticeable difference. Now we might not see any change. In fact, we didn't, because I think we still need to adjust all that info within tank.cpp. This would essentially be the same world matrix, but we subtract the... Oh no, that's right, we can't do that quite yet. We would have to do matrix, world turret is equal to tank scale minus tank rot, or times matrix of trans, tank position minus, oh god, what an operation. Tank position minus a translation of 0.0f, negative 10.0f, 0.0f. This is going to be a vector of turret position is equal to that. Matrix world turrets is equal to... All this coding just makes a tank... Oh, I'm sorry. Just to make the tank the right color? No, 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 this isn't having to do with that. This is having to do with the turret. Tank scale times tank rotation times matrix of translation and turret POS. Set world, it's gonna be world turret instead. Hopefully that should offset it. Nah, it doesn't look like it offset it. It's kind of still in the same position there. Let's do... Oh, I did minus 20. Or minus 10. Let's do positive 20. It looks like it's higher up, so maybe that's a good sign. 50? Oh yeah, there it is. Starting up here. It's offset, weirdly enough. Oops. Trying to figure out what's going on here. I think it's too high. That's my inclination. But I'm wondering if affecting Y is the right choice. Let's do 010F and 50 here. I should be offsetting it to the X. In fact, I can't even see it anymore. It's somewhere there. Maybe 10. 50's too far. Now that looks like it's the right coordinates. Weird, okay. So let's do negative 10. Yeah, okay, that's starting to look right. It's kind of hard to tell because we can't see if it's making contact properly because there's no shape texture there. Let's do minus 15. Make sure we're not missing anything underneath. It does kind of prop itself up. I don't know what this should properly look like. Let's do minus 13. See if that looks good. Let's go take a look at a tank to see what that should look like. Tank. I feel like it should be right in there. It shouldn't actually be propping out really at all. Yeah. So maybe minus 10 was right. Let's try minus 11 to see if we can get anything on there. No, even that I don't like. Let's just do minus 10. I think that's fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I want independent rotation, where I can use the arrow keys to move around the tank head, the turret, without having to match up with the actual body. That might be a problem now that I realize that with all of our updating code here. So we do want to set up the tank gun stuff. This is all relevant now. These are going to have independent movement. And that means when we set up the roll matrix, it's going to be different than this. I am glad we know the relevant position now, though. So it's not going to be this. It's going to be minus 10 here. I'm sure I didn't break anything with that. Okay, good. It's weird that we also have the body, but we don't have the head of the tank. Or the... I don't even know what that'd be called. Yeah, memory leak. Oh, it's probably the turret itself. Okay. So... adjust spaceship and fighter tech matrix. Adjust... turret body matrix. Adjust... turret. Nope, just body matrix. Tank body matrix. Adjust turret body matrix. Okay. A little scatterbrain. The turret POS can remain the same. So actually, these might not be relevant. Turret POS, that isn't relevant. Nope, sorry, crossed out the wrong one. Because it's always going to match the tank POS. That should never be different. The rots and translation will be different. Well, PS, no, that's translation. That'll be the same. Rotation will change. Is that it? I think just just that. Scale's of course going to stay the same. So really, the only thing we need different is the rot. So instead, it's not going to be tank rot. It's going to be tank gun, turret rot. And they should still function the same, because we're still doing essentially the same thing. Yep, good. But now we gotta set up those keys. Also, I don't like the angle that this turns out. It just doesn't look right. It shouldn't turn that fast. Anyway. Also, just delete. What's this called? Tank gun. Any memory leaks? Nope. Good. Okay. So now we're going to test for arrow keys. Turrets. Rotation. If keyboard gets key state, Zool key up, arrow. I don't want that. Arrow right. Tank gun. Turret rot. This is Sims? Wow, this sounds great. For being in the Sims soundtrack. Odd. Turret times equals matrix rot y. I may choose to have the tank turret rotate at a different rate at which than the tank actually rotates, so let's actually set that up. It's gonna be tank gun. Well, or maybe that's later on kind of thing. It's gonna be a later on kind of thing. We're just gonna stick with this for now. Tank rot angle. Do it at the same rates. Don't make our life too difficult. Yep. Else if keyboard get key state. This prevents holding left and right down at the same time. Having else if. The arrow key right's gonna take priority at all times, but that's fine for now. Key arrow left. Tank gun. Turret rotation. Times equals matrix rot y. Tank rot angle, but the negative. Okay. Let's try that out. So there's the actual moving around, and there's the independent movement. This is, oddly enough, swaps. So let's do positive there, negative there. So getting the right position, and I want to go right, and I want to go left. Now I mentioned before I want to set a lock on this, so at some point here, it shouldn't be able to move any further. It can't go all the way behind you, for example. Even though some tanks might be able to do that, I don't know if they can. Oh, that's funny. If you go both directions, since they're at the same rate, you can technically do this. Or an even faster spin. For this reason, I'd like to have them at different rates, even slightly, so that when you're rotating and trying to rotate the top turret, they appear a little different. Plus this also seems a little too fast. But so does the tank turning, so. Alright. For now, let's also, I mean, we can probably real quick set up shooting as well. How long am I shooting for? Hour and a half, 50 minutes. Yeah, let's set up shooting. Now this is going to be a key state. I would like this to be a key state. It's going to be similar to Frigate once more. Oh, I didn't set up defaults for this. Oops. Defaults. This should be honestly an assertion, but we're going to say debug message out. Include debug out. Okay. It's going to be on key press. Inputable submit key registration, Azul key, key space, key press. What do we do when we have a key, Azul key, key space, question mark? Well, we break at the end, but what we're gonna do is set up a bullet factory. Bullet factory. Oh. Factory. Which we probably don't have access to yet. That's fine. We can include it. Likely later on we're going to create something called like a shell factory, but for now, bullet factory we'll have to do. Create bullets. And we're going to set that at the tank gun, turret rotation, and might as well tank gun, turret position. Alright, and those bullets are self-executing. This should come out of like the middle of the tank, which is fine. We'll set it to be the... Oh, not even that. Wow, look how far that is off. Oh, that's not even moving with us. Tank, turret, rod, tank. Oh, we don't set up the position. We never actually changed that, so this should be ship position. The tank position. We'll have to change that, of course, later on, but... Yeah, it looks a little weird coming out of the middle of the ship. So we'd have to raise that up a bit. Rotation's fine otherwise. How do we do over here? Tank position minus this vector. I should hardcode it with this, or I should not hardcode what this vector is. This -10 float. Let's do just vector tank gun offset. It's equal to... Can I just do this? It's not gonna let me do that. Take.cpp. Tank gun offset dot sets 0.0 float. Nope. -10.0 float. What is the value? Yeah. 0.0 float, 0.0 float. It's not gonna let me do this though. Oh no, it will. Okay, great. And then that means also down here. Turret POS is equal to tank POS minus the tank gun offset. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, that's not good. Turret POS got messed up. We don't have that translation. We're gonna take this then. tank gun offset is equal to matrix identity. Oh, it's a vector then. Tank gun offset is equal to tank POS minus that vector. I don't like that because the vector, or the tank POS is going to change. So... yeah, that's way too low. Okay. Let's ignore this bit. We're not going to do that anymore. Instead of a vector, it's going to be a float. Take an offset, which is equal to negative 10.0 f. Tank POS minus the vector trans 0.0 f. Oh. Tank gun offset 0.0 f, 0.0 f. Okay. I have to clean that up to make it look nicer, but it's that good otherwise. I think we might be alright. It's a little too low still. Oh, because yeah, that's where the body of it is. That isn't where the actual gun is. The barrel of the gun isn't that low. Okay, if I can make that bullet skinnier, then that'll actually look nice. But hey, that kind of works for now. Something to start off with. Let's make the bullet skinnier now. So, bullet.cpp. Scale is going to be to 5. Three. Oh no, we want that to be longer. Never mind. Make that 6 and then 1.0. 1.0. We want it to be skinnier and longer. Almost perfect. Zero 0.5. 0.5. Here's another resolution. Don't bother with this. Keep the bullets the same size. Adjust the position. It doesn't need to go down the barrel. In fact, probably a bad idea that it does, because then it has to stay in the barrel, which doesn't make sense when you're rotating. Question is, now we have to get the bullets to come out of the tip of the barrel, which we'd figure out where that is. So let's move this tank gun offset. Negative 14.0 f is about how tall we have to go. The height is easy. That's gonna be an easy position. Getting to the tip of the barrel though, that's gonna be tricky. Because we can't just do a straight value. Could do something you do with the rotation. Oh, this could be a tricky one. Okay, I have to come back to this. Deal with bullet coming out of the barrel Position needs to reflect. Position is tricky. That's all I'll phrase it. Okay. I think for now this is probably a good stopping place. Got part of a tank drawing. We still need to figure out what to do with the body. Because we got the body up top, that works okay-ish. Got the tank treads. Everything else we don't quite have. I need to maybe figure out a way to unify the two together. And we have an independently moving turret head, which is nice. Got some form of shooting. And rotation based on that. So hey, we got a little bit of progress. And no memory leaks. So I'm kind of ahead of the game at the moment. I have a midterms coming up, so that'll be exciting. But that is all for me today. Let me go and get ready to close up here. Transition scenes, bye. And we're gonna find someone to host. Ah, Mr. Popone Duck is doing his world-famous Dirty Dozen, where he plays, I believe it's just a small handful of games. I think it's like 6 or so. It might be a little bit more than that, but like a small handful of retro games for the entirety of this month, and he cannot look up walkthroughs, he cannot play any other game other than these small handful of games. It's sort of to have an homage back to the olden days where you only had so many games and you love those games to death, and you played them to death because that's all you had. Anyways, we're gonna throw more raid here, say hello to Popo, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their night. Take care.